हेलो गाइस, वेलकम। बहुत बहुत स्वागत है आपका स्पोर्ट्स यारी। आप देख रहे हैं, मैं हूं रोहित और आज मेरे साथ आदित्य पटेल जुड़े हुए हैं। आदित्य के बारे में मैं आपको बताऊं उससे पहले ये जरूर बता देना चाहता हूं कि स्पोर्ट्स को लेकर जो आप लगातार देख रहे हैं स्पोर्ट्स यारी पर, इट्स नॉट लिमिटेड टू क्रिकेट, इट्स नॉट लिमिटेड टू फुटबॉल, इट्स नॉट लिमिटेड टू स्पेसिफिक स्पोर्ट्स, बीट इंडिया, बीट एनीवेयर इन द वर्ल्ड। हम लोग लगातार आपको कोशिश कर रहे हैं अलग अलग स्पोर्ट्स के बारे में बताने में। आज हम बात करने वाले हैं F4 के बारे में, और F4 का आगाज जो इंडिया में हो रहा है, नवंबर दिसंबर का महीना होगा, व्हेन यू गाइस कैन सी F4 स्पोर्ट्स इन इंडिया। और उसी को लेकर के हम आदित्य से भी बात करेंगे। जो मेरे हिसाब से तो व्हेन आई वाज स्टडीइंग अबाउट हिम, I think he's a prodigy when it comes to the racing. Aditya, welcome to the show, man. And
Thank you.
when I was reading about you, I came to know, a champion, a racer, a champion at the age of 19, I think. And then you started with BMW, and then you started with Volkswagen, podium positions there. And you've started, you're the first man started the league also, the racing league, what we call it. And it's very popular term in India because we have started in different leagues. But firstly and foremostly, a very warm welcome to in Sports Yari. Any words before we start?
No, thanks so much. It's a pleasure to be on Sports Yari. I'm actually looking forward to this interview with you, and it's not often that we get so many sports fans who'll be watching us do an interview. So I'm very happy to share all the information and also share more about motorsport in the country because it's like you said, it's a niche sport. It's different, and the following has been
Exactly.
growing for the last 2 or 3 years. So I'm really happy
Yeah.
to share
Yeah.
all the information about that.
Thank you so much. As I was, reading about this, firstly, I will get into the things that what's F4 is and the technicalities of it. But firstly and foremostly, I just want to know about where did this love start, man? I had a conversation with earlier also with people related to motorsport, and I just asked them where this came from. So the story is very much, very much likely started with go karting, and then trying to be a pro in this. Where's your story started from, man? What's the trigger point?
I think for me, it started very young because I used to go to the racetrack as well with my father. He used to race and prepare cars as well. So for him, it was more of a hobby, but of course, racing existed in the country for many, many years. And I had access to that since I was a kid. And, always in school, there's this thing, I'm sure even you would have had that with your friends, what do you want to be when you grow up? And usually people
Yes,
will say either
but it's
fighter
constantly
pilot,
changing as I'm
race
growing
car
up.
driver. Exactly. No, but when you're young, people will say fighter pilot, race car driver, or firefighter, or something like that.
Yes,
So I
yes,
stuck to
yes.
one of them, and
Okay.
that.
So
But then
what
I
you
think
what you were writing in your slam books, you actually did it, man.
actually, but it started from that age, I think, and then once you get it stuck in your head at that age, fortunately, I had access to
Yeah.
the sport as well, so I guess I was lucky from that side. And then I started go
Okay.
karting, and it became an addiction. After that, I just couldn't stop. You just want to do it again and again. But obviously, it's an expensive sport, so I couldn't
Yes.
do it as often as I would have liked to. I couldn't take it to the level that as I would have liked to. But I mean, realistically, it all worked out quite well for me.
So when you were talking about this, earlier dreams, I was again going back. It was a nostalgia for me. I would also like to become a pilot, and then suddenly I realized that, oh, my mathematics is not that good. So so better be left that dream, and let's carry on with the life. But one more thing, I think it's about last year, when I was having a conversation with Akhil Rabindra, and
Yeah.
he's a GT4 racer. And so I just quickly went into your Instagram and just checked who you follow. So there were two mutual contacts. One is Kiara Advani, and the other one is Akhil
That's so what I
Rabindra.
do. Yeah, yeah.
So so when Akhil came here, I asked him about this ladder. How you associate with it, from where it all started, and then what's the road ahead for a GT4 driver. Uh, when I ask about F4, it's starting in India. But what I know is there's go karting, then there is F4, and maybe it's a bridge between F3 and go karting. You will give a more clarity to this. And then I know about this 40 points which you need to go to the F1 level. Can you just tell my audience that how it all started? Is it from the go karting and then the F4 and then the F3 and then the FIAs and then till to the F1? Can you give us a glimpse?
Yeah, absolutely. I can tell you how a normal professional racing driver will go about their journey. Obviously, it starts with
Yeah.
go-karting, and it starts at the most fun level. Just going to the go-kart track closest to your home with your friends, enjoying yourself. And once you enjoy it, then you want to pursue it further. And there are many go-karting training academies in the country with higher level go-karts. And then once you take part in that and you perform well in that, then you're ready to go to the next step. Obviously,
Okay.
it is an expensive sport, and if you want to really fund yourself for international go-karting, that is quite expensive. But that's the route that all Formula One drivers take. They do the World Championship go-karting, which happens mostly around
Yes.
Europe, at a very high level.
Yes.
And again, guys like Charles Leclerc, Lando Norris, Max Verstappen, even Jahan Daruwala, our very own Indian, has done go-karting at that level. Kush Maini has done go-karting at
Yes.
that level. So that's how you get through your go-karting trajectory. And the next step, like you said, will be F4. F4 is
Yeah.
a smaller size Formula car. It looks like a Formula One car, but smaller size, less power, etc. It's like climbing a ladder. You take small steps and then you start
Yeah.
taking the bigger steps as
Yeah.
you get higher up. And once you do
Yes.
F4, you collect what we call super license points. If you win an FIA accredited F4 championship, like the one in India, you collect 12 super
Yes.
license points. Then you're ready for the
Okay.
next step, which is the Formula Regional. Now, Formula Regional is
Okay.
basically a Formula 3 championship which runs in different countries. So, Formula Regional India, Formula Regional UAE, Formula Regional America, Formula Regional Japan, Europe, so all these regions have what's called a Formula Regional Championship, which is a regional Formula 3 championship. So, after F4, that's the next step. And we also have that in India. So, we're giving youngsters
Yeah.
this ladder to at least do up to Formula Regional. And then we have another championship, which is more from an aspirational term, which is called the IRL, which is the league. It's called the Indian Racing
Okay.
League. And as you mentioned before,
Okay.
I had started the
Yeah.
league along with my partners Arman and Abhinandan in 2019. And back then we called it
Yes.
X1 Racing League. So now we've renamed it. It's the Indian Racing League,
Yeah.
just like how you've got
Yes.
IPL, etc., etc. So
Yeah. Yeah.
these
Yeah.
are the three
Exactly.
championships. Yeah. So these are the three championships that we're introducing in India. Obviously, our
Yeah.
main goals are to find young talent. I think we have a country of over 1 billion people. We have some very talented
Yes.
drivers. If you can drive on Indian roads, you can drive anywhere in the world.
Anyway, in the world. Yeah.
You can manage any race, any obstacle.
No, no, but
But
I want to know more about it later on the show because you have done it in I think major parts of the world. As a single driver, also maybe if I'm remembering it correctly, it was I think Germany where you won those podium positions, and it was I think a single seater drive.
yeah, no, so I'd done a fair bit of driving in my career when I did go-karting in India and Asia. I couldn't afford to
Yeah.
do the European karting championships at the time. And then after that, I did Formula BMW, which back then we didn't have
Yes.
Formula 4. The next step was Formula BMW. This was in 2008. So after
Eight.
racing in the Indian National Championships, which we had called Formula Roll-On, then I moved to an international one called Formula BMW. Fortunately, after that, I got picked up by Volkswagen to then start racing in
Yes.
touring cars. So it's like the Volkswagen Polo. It's a production car that they convert to a race car, and then you race against each other.
Yes.
So that's when I started racing in
Okay.
Germany. And I won a race. I won a few races actually when I moved to the Volkswagen Scirocco Cup, which was the next level.
Mhm.
That was again in
Yes.
Germany. And that's what really
There, I think
accelerated my
you've
career
been in the podium.
to
I think a
GT.
couple of times.
Yeah, yeah. I won a couple of times. I was on the podium quite a few times in that stint in Scirocco Cup. And that's what
Okay.
accelerated my career to then move to Audi and start driving GT cars, where we raced in the Nürburgring 24 hours. We won in our
Yes.
category over there. And then after
Nice.
that, GT3 cars, right through in Europe and in Asia with fairly good success. So, I was having a
I think
good
you're the
time.
only Indian driver to be I think holding the first position in the Budh circuit also, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, I think that was when the track had just opened, and I think yeah, it's
Yes,
it's a it's a
I think
funny
it was
record
close
to
to
hold.
2014 or 15.
2014 or 13, I think it was, and I became the first
Okay.
Indian driver to win the international race at the Budh circuit. So
Yes.
that was a cool record because the circuit is it's such a historical part of our country.
Yeah.
To have the first Formula One race there, and it's such a big facility. So it's quite nice to have that tag with me.
And
But
there was a buzz of, this is coming to India, and obviously there was a name of Naran Karthikeyan. So I think how much does it help, from a kid, where we all know that, the infrastructure is not there, the facilities as far as these motorsports are concerned, as we all know that it's an expensive sport. Does it help? Does these kind of things help the sport coming to India, you starting a league now this F4? I want you to tell me about more on this, because it's an inaugural season, and how it can help India, as you told that the first focus is to bring the audience and to bring the young people who want to drive to the races or to the tracks, but what's more, and how it is helping the country?
I think the first way that it will help, particularly, will be with bringing the youngsters on in terms of now, if you're a parent, for example, who has a young boy or girl
Mm,
who's very keen to race,
mm,
at the end of
mm.
the day, you as a parent will make most of the decisions. And if you see that beyond go-karting, there's no real scope or future within the country, at that very young age itself, you may decide that you don't want to really put your child into this sport. You may start to then do, or whatever, cricket, football, and try to distract the child by doing other sports. But as a parent, if
Yes.
you see that there are opportunities to move up the ladder, you have go-karting, then you have international Formula 4, you have international Formula Regional, all this in the country,
Mm.
then you'd be willing to support the child, to then actually get into the sport at a young age, because there's scope, there's an opportunity to make it to the top level globally, as long as your grassroots are within the country. So to have things like the Budh circuit, the MMRT, Formula 4, Formula Regional, IRL, all these championships here gives a lot of people hope that that not just putting their kids, but also sponsors and potential enthusiasts for motorsport, it gives them hope as well to get more involved in the sport, because you see it in the UK, you see it in Europe. It's the sport is such an
United
integral
States.
part of the country. Exactly, or
Yes.
in America, because they have access to these
Yeah.
facilities, and everybody wants to go and have some fun in a car, and you can't do that on the roads, right? You have to be safe and responsible on the road. So by having these
Exactly.
facilities, it gives you access to do so much. It gives you access to enjoy yourself, and it gives you access to make a career for yourself in the sport, or for your child, for your children. So I think by having Formula 4, Formula Regional, and these racetracks, definitely you're right. This infrastructure will help to change the outlook of the sport going forward in the country.
Okay. One, a little basic, but mostly asked question. Uh, in F1, is there anyone who makes you like, I have to watch this race, or are you the one who follow the complete season, and about everything, that what Lewis Hamilton is doing or what the Verstappen is doing? Are you someone like them, or you follow it in a different way, like, don't have to follow the whole season, but I really wanted to know who won the season? What kind of fan are you?
I like to follow the races. I went for the Austrian GP as well, at the Red Bull
Okay.
Ring this year. And I
Okay.
like to follow as many races as I can, but sometimes, most of my work is on weekends, whether it's race events or coaching youngsters, things like that happens on Sunday. I tend to miss the races. But yes, I do always, whenever I'm at home, a whole bunch of friends, we gather, we meet, and then we watch the races together. And we like to follow, what each driver is doing, how they go about their career. And now there's such a
So
good
one
crop of
difficult question.
youngsters.
So one
Yes.
difficult question, man. What do you think
Is
about
it
the
about the
last race of
personal
the
life?
last season?
Oh, good. The
No, 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 no,
last
no,
race
no.
of the last season.
Of the last season. What
It's
about that
it's
security
actually
cars revolving around the track, and then what happened between
yeah,
Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen?
it's actually a very
What do you
tough
make of it?
call. I think what made it really difficult for the race director was that he had too much influence from the teams, and then it becomes
The
very
teams,
difficult for
yes.
him to make an actual decision. Because the real
Okay.
decision normally would be that the safety car allows the lap cars to overtake, and then the race can
Overtake,
restart.
yes.
But the
Yes.
first decision was made that the safety car will not allow the lap cars to overtake. And I think this was
Okay.
also like with all these words coming in from teams, that was one decision that was made. Then one, I
Yeah.
guess, in another team said that, how can you do this? The rule is this. Then that's something else that comes
Yes.
into this person's head. He's okay. Now I need to actually follow the rules. So then he changed it again. So then I think it
Yeah.
all became so controversial in the end.
Yes.
So I don't know whether it's definitely it's. I can tell you, you can't fix it in motorsport. It's very hard to
Yeah.
fix it. So the people who said it's all fixed,
Yes.
I'm not really with
Yeah.
them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, it could have been handled better. I feel like it could have definitely been
Mhm.
a situation that was handled better.
Yes.
But
Yes.
in the end, it was an outcome that couldn't be changed. Yes, the person lost his job, and but the outcome is the outcome. Both drivers were so evenly matched till the end, and either of
Yeah.
them deserved
Yeah.
to win. So
It's
that
all
that's my
happy and
take.
gaga for the Max Verstappen
Yeah.
fans, and
Yeah, I mean, I
heartbroken
enjoyed the
for someone
championship
like me who is a
for
Lewis
Hamilton
Hamilton
fan.
fan.
I'm a neutral viewer, so I enjoyed the
No, no, no.
championship.
What about?
It
I
was a
really
very good
wanted to
race.
know this. Who you follow? Who's your favorite?
I mean, I don't have a favorite per se. I'm a big fan of Fernando Alonso. I've always been a fan of
Okay.
Charles
Okay.
Leclerc since he was in junior formulas,
Okay.
ever since he was Formula 3, Formula 2. So I've always followed his career. But I think, yeah, these are the two main drivers. If I had to choose and support, I think they would be the two main
Okay.
drivers that I've always supported. It's just unfortunate that Ferrari is not really doing the best job at the moment. They've got such a good car,
Yes.
but it's either Leclerc who
They
makes
got such
mistakes
a
or
good
Ferrari who
legacy.
makes mistakes.
Great, one of
They
the
got such
finest
a good
legacy they
legacy.
have.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I hope they turn it around soon. I'm hoping they do that because when Alonso joined Ferrari, they still struggled.
Mm,
When Vettel joined Ferrari, they struggled. Now Leclerc at
mm,
Ferrari,
mm,
they're struggling. So I'm
mm.
just hoping something. Raikkonen at Ferrari, such good drivers, but they could never really do something about it. So I'm hoping sometime it'll change. They have two good drivers now. So
Okay, okay. Coming back to the F4, is it? Do you think just a simple question that how much optimistic are you from the response? How's the response? Can you feel the response from the Indian audience or maybe the investors or maybe the guys behind it? Can you feel it
yeah,
about
it's
the
it's
F4?
growing. I mean, the definitely. I mean, we definitely still need more time to be out there for more people to know about it, and I think that will only be possible after one season when people see it on TV, when people see more about it on billboards and ads, etc., etc. The first season obviously
Yes.
is going to be much harder to reach to people until it actually happens.
Okay.
But the
Okay.
the response from, like you said, investors, potential sponsors is actually it's great because
Yes.
I did this in 2018 and 19 with Arman and with Abhinandan. We met
Yes.
people in all over the
Yes.
country, and even
Yeah.
around the world we met people. But particularly in
Yes.
India, people were of the opinion that the sport is just not big enough. They didn't want to get involved in motorsport because not many people watch it. And you have to remember this is 2019 pre-Drive to Survive. But
Yes.
I think during the pandemic, people were stuck at home watching TV, and then for some reason, that particular show seems to have just reached a lot of people, and now people
Yes.
are saying, "Oh wow,
Especially in America.
motorsport! We want to be involved." In America, even in India, and there's people actually saying, "My
Yeah.
son and my daughter, they watch F1 all the time," and that's
Mm.
which means the parent is now starting to watch it with them, which didn't happen in 2019. Even the TV
Yes.
channels that we met, they said, we just show Formula One because it's Formula One. Not many people watch it.
Yes.
But today, that
Yes.
narrative has changed. So
Yeah.
that actually helps when we go meet sponsors and we go meet potential investors. Everybody wants to be involved in the sport in some way or the other. So that's helped a lot, and we hope that continues to keep helping us and changing in the future.
Because you take that name, Drive to Survive, what you think as a professional? Because I really think that the way that is made, I think obviously they are racist, but the kind of things they have put into it, the drama, the action, the
Yeah,
controversies, and everything means it looks like a perfect plot for making something like that. And maybe the last
yeah,
season could be the best thing because it was all about these controversies and something said by the Max team and then from the Hamilton's team. How you think as a professional, how, it really had changed, the future of the motorsport, as you said, not in America but in India also.
Yeah, I mean, the way I viewed this particular show in the first year was there was so
Yeah,
much that actually happens inside the pit and up and down the field that you don't
exactly,
see on TV. You only see the leaders, you only
exactly.
see the winning team. You don't know who Gunther Steiner is, you don't know who the other team managers are. But through the
Mhm.
show, you got to know so much about the drivers, the team managers, the team principals, the teams themselves, which
Why
actually
Vijay
made it
Mallya
quite
pull out?
exactly Vijay Mallya pulling out.
With him.
So many things
Yes,
we would have never known,
exactly.
and they interviewed him as
Yeah,
well. So it became something really interesting because of that. And then obviously you want to keep people's attention, so they started putting more attention on the potential controversies. But it's
yes,
not a scripted reality show even. No, it's real, right?
exactly,
So
exactly.
everything that happens is
You know
really
it, you know
happening
it.
now. Exactly. Yeah. So it's really happening, and the fact that Netflix is able to make it seem so much more than actually what it is, they're doing a good job of it. But they know the audience wants to watch that. But yeah, sometimes they do go overboard with it. But I think the first season
Yeah,
was actually really, really good the way they did it.
really good. Yes, yes. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for the conversation, for the words, and I wish you all the very best for this inaugural season. And maybe we'll had a chat there, and maybe we can also come and see some races there, and
Absolutely, we'd love to have you there.
support all of this.
Sure, we'd love to have you there, and I hope everybody watching as well. You must come for the races. We're racing in Hyderabad, we're racing in Delhi, racing in Chennai. Follow
Yes,
our socials as
yes,
well, Indian Racing League. You'll
yeah.
find all the information there. And the more people we have there, the bigger the event will be, and I'm sure everybody will love it.
Thank you, brother, and all the very best. All the very best. Thank you so much for
Thank
talking
you
to
so much.
us.